Most people destroy their future before breakfast, not because they are lazy, not because they are stupid, not because they don't have talent, but because while successful people are quietly building momentum, everyone else is fighting battles they don't even realize they're losing. Think about it. Before 8 a.m., some people have already trained their mind, already protected their focus, already built confidence, already won small victories. And those small victories silently become a successful life. Meanwhile, someone else wakes up, grabs their phone, checks notifications, compares themselves to strangers, feels anxious, feels behind, feels tired, and the day hasn't even started. Here's the scary part. The difference between those two people doesn't look dramatic. It looks invisible. Until 5 years later, then one person seems unstoppable. The other wonders, what happened to my life? And that's why this video matters. Because success is not created in huge moments. It is created in quiet mornings. In habits nobody sees. In decisions nobody applauds. In battles nobody knows you're fighting. Tonight, millions of people will go to sleep dreaming about a better future tomorrow morning. Most of them will wake up and repeat the same routine that created the life they want to escape. But a few people, a very small group, will do something different before 8 a.m. And those few people will slowly change everything. Let me tell you a story. A story that might feel strangely familiar, because in many ways, it's your story too. 3 years ago, a young man named Arjun felt stuck. Every morning looked the same. Wake up late, rush through breakfast, scroll, social media, check messages, feel overwhelmed, go to work, come home exhausted, repeat. Nothing was technically wrong, but nothing felt right either. You know that feeling, when life isn't falling apart, but it isn't moving forward. When you're surviving, but not growing. When deep inside you know you're capable of more. Yet every day looks exactly like yesterday. That was Arjun. He wasn't poor. He wasn't unsuccessful. He wasn't failing, but he felt trapped inside a smaller version of himself. The worst part, nobody else could see it. From the outside he looked fine, but inside he was frustrated because every year he made the same promises. This year I'll get disciplined. This year I'll become confident. This year I'll improve myself. This year everything changes. But somehow nothing changed. Maybe you've been there. Maybe you're there right now. And one morning something happened. Not a life-changing event, not a miracle, not a motivational speech, just a simple observation. Arjun arrived at work early. Almost nobody was there, except one senior manager, a man everyone respected, calm, confident, successful, the kind of person whose presence filled a room without needing attention. Arjun noticed something strange. The manager looked relaxed, focused, energized, while everyone else walked in stressed and distracted. Finally, Arjun asked him a question that would change everything. How do you always seem so calm? The manager smiled, then said something simple, because my day starts before everyone else's begins. Arjun laughed. He thought there must be some deeper secret, but the manager continued. The first hours of the morning decide who controls the rest of the day. That sentence stayed with him for days, for weeks, because deep down he knew it was true. Most people spend their mornings reacting. Successful people spend their mornings creating. And there is a massive difference between those two states. One makes you a passenger. The other makes you the driver. One creates anxiety. The other creates power. One steals confidence. The other builds it. And this brings us to the first thing successful people do before 8 a.m. Not because a productivity guru said so, not because it's trendy, but because psychology proves it changes everything. Habit number 1. They protect the first moments of the day. Imagine opening your eyes, and before your feet touch the floor, you enter the lives of hundreds of strangers. Social media, news, messages, emails, opinions, arguments, problems, demands. Your brain hasn't even fully awakened, yet the world is already screaming for your attention. Most people think this is normal. It isn't. It's mental invasion. The first minutes after waking are incredibly powerful. Your mind is highly impressionable. What enters your brain first often sets the emotional tone for the entire day. Think about it. Have you ever checked your phone first thing in the morning, then suddenly felt stressed, anxious, behind, irritated, even though nothing bad actually happened? That's because your brain started reacting before it started thinking. Successful people understand something most people never realize. Attention is life. Where attention goes, energy follows. Where energy goes, your future follows. That's why many successful people create a wall around their morning. No notifications, no chaos, no endless scrolling. Not because they hate technology, because they value focus. And focus is becoming one of the rarest things in modern life. The average person loses their attention hundreds of times every day, then wonders why they feel mentally exhausted. Imagine trying to fill a bucket with water while someone keeps punching holes in it. That's what distraction does to your potential. Successful people know this, so before 8 a.m., they guard their mind because they understand a powerful truth. If you don't control your attention, someone else will, and they will profit from it. Now here's where things become interesting, because protecting your mind creates space. And successful people don't leave that space empty. They use it for something else. Something that looks small, but creates enormous results over time. Habit number 2. They create a small win immediately. Not a huge achievement, not something impressive, just a win. Making the bed, drinking water, going for a walk, reading one page, writing one idea, stretching for 5 minutes. Tiny victories. Why? Because confidence is not built from thinking. It's built from evidence. Most people wait to feel motivated before taking action. Successful people take action before motivation arrives. This changes everything, because every completed action sends a message to the brain. I keep promises to myself. And every broken promise sends another message. I cannot trust myself. Think about that carefully. Self-confidence isn't just believing in yourself, it's trusting yourself. And trust is built through repeated proof. Every morning, successful people create proof. Proof that they can act, proof that they can move, proof that they are not controlled by mood. And over months, over years, those tiny pieces of proof become an identity. Not, I want to be disciplined, but I am disciplined. Not, I hope I become confident, but I'm confident. Identity always beats motivation. Always. Because motivation comes and goes. Identity stays. And that leads us to something even deeper. Because there is one morning habit almost nobody talks about. Yet, it may be the most powerful habit of all. It determines whether you spend your life chasing noise or building meaning. Most people never learn it. And that's exactly why so many people stay busy, but never feel fulfilled. Let's talk about that next. Because being busy and being productive are not the same thing, and deep down, most people know it. You can answer emails all day, attend meetings, respond to messages, scroll through information, stay occupied from morning until night, and still go to bed feeling empty, because movement is not progress, activity is not achievement. And successful people understand this before most people do, which brings us to habit number 3. They spend time alone with their thoughts. Now, that sounds simple, maybe even boring, but in today's world, it's becoming a superpower. Think about it. The average person is almost never alone with their own mind. The moment silence appears, music starts, a video plays, a notification arrives, a podcast begins. Something fills the space. Anything except silence. Why? Because silence reveals things. It reveals fears, unanswered questions, hidden dreams, uncomfortable truths. And most people would rather stay distracted than face those things. But successful people do the opposite. Before 8 a.m., many of them create moments of quiet, not because they enjoy being alone, because clarity lives there. The world constantly tells you what to want: a bigger house, more followers, more money, more validation, more attention, more everything. But silence asks a different question. What do you actually want? And that question changes lives. Imagine standing at a crossroads. One path leads toward the life everyone expects. The other leads toward the life you truly want. If you never stop and listen to yourself, you may spend decades walking in the wrong direction. Many people don't realize this until it's too late. They wake up at 40, 50, 60, and suddenly ask, whose life have I been living? Successful people reduce the chance of that happening because every morning they reconnect with themselves. Sometimes through prayer, sometimes through meditation, sometimes through journaling, sometimes through a simple walk. The method doesn't matter, the awareness does, and awareness creates power. Because you cannot change what you refuse to see. A few months after changing his mornings, Arjun noticed something strange. His life wasn't dramatically different, yet everything felt different. He wasn't earning millions, he wasn't famous. He hadn't transformed overnight, but he felt calmer, stronger, more focused, more intentional. And for the first time in years, he felt like he was moving somewhere. That's when he discovered habit number 4. Successful people move their body before they move into the world. This habit has nothing to do with six-pack abs, nothing to do with looking good in photos, nothing to do with impressing people. It's much deeper than that. Movement changes emotion. Have you ever noticed how different you feel after a walk, or after exercise, or after stretching? The problems may still exist, but somehow they feel smaller. Your energy changes. Your thinking changes. Your mood changes because the body and mind are connected. When one changes, the other follows. Yet many people wake up and immediately sit. Sit while checking their phone. Sit while eating. Sit during travel. Sit at work. Sit at home. Then wonder why they feel sluggish. Imagine owning a powerful sports car, but never starting the engine. That's what many people do with their bodies. Successful people understand something important. Energy is not something you find. It's something you create. And movement is one of the fastest ways to create it. Even 10 minutes matters. Even a short walk matters. Even simple stretching matters. Because the goal isn't perfection. The goal is activation. To tell your mind and body, we're awake, we're alive, we're moving. And movement creates momentum. Momentum creates confidence. Confidence creates action. Action changes lives. But here comes a habit that separates average performers from exceptional ones. A habit that feels almost invisible, yet its impact is enormous. Habit number 5. They feed their mind before the world feeds it. Think about the average morning news, social media, complaints, politics, drama, arguments, negativity. Most people consume information without choosing it. Their mind becomes a dumping ground for whatever appears first. Successful people are more intentional. Before 8 a.m., they learn something. Maybe 10 pages of a book. Maybe an article. Maybe a lesson. Maybe a chapter. Maybe a few minutes studying a skill. The amount doesn't matter. Consistency does. Imagine reading 10 pages every day. Doesn't sound impressive. But after 1 year, thousands of pages, hundreds of ideas, new perspectives, new strategies, new ways of thinking, tiny daily learning becomes massive long-term advantage. Here's something people forget. Your income can grow. Your career can grow. Your confidence can grow. But all of those things often begin with one thing: your thinking. Because every result in your life started as a thought first. Every invention, every company, every achievement, every transformation. Someone thought differently. Successful people protect their minds from random inputs, then intentionally fill them with valuable ones, and over time, that creates wisdom, not information. Wisdom changes decisions. Decisions change outcomes. Outcomes change lives. At this point, Arjun's friends started noticing changes. Not huge changes, subtle changes, the most powerful kind. He seemed calmer during pressure, more confident during conversations, less reactive, more focused, more present. One friend finally asked him, "What happened to you?" Arjun thought about it, then realized something surprising. He wasn't changing his life, he was changing his mornings, and his mornings were changing everything else. That's when he discovered habit number 6. Successful people decide who they want to be before the world tells them who they are. This habit is powerful because everyday society tries to define you. Your job title, your bank account, your appearance, your mistakes, your past, your failures, your status. But successful people begin the day with intention. They remind themselves of their values, their goals, their mission, their identity. Think about athletes before a competition, or soldiers before a mission, or performers before stepping on stage. They prepare mentally because performance starts in the mind. Life is no different. The conversations you have with yourself matter more than most people realize. If every morning you tell yourself, "I'm behind, I'm not good enough, I'm unlucky, I'm not confident," eventually your brain accepts those statements as reality. But if every morning you remind yourself, "I can learn, I can improve, I can grow, I can handle challenges," your behavior begins to change, not instantly, gradually. But gradually is how real transformation happens. A mountain is moved one stone at a time. A life is changed one thought at a time. And before 8 a.m., successful people choose their thoughts carefully because they know thoughts become actions. Actions become habits. Habits become destiny. Now, let me tell you something most motivational videos never mention. Success is not just about doing more. Sometimes it's about carrying less stress, less noise, less emotional baggage, less unnecessary drama, which brings us to habit number 7. Successful people practice emotional control before emotional challenges arrive. Most people wait until they're stressed to manage stress. By then, it's already difficult. Successful people prepare beforehand. Imagine 2 ships entering a storm. One ship has been reinforced, maintained, strengthened. The other has been neglected. Which one survives better? The same principle applies to the mind. Life will test you. A difficult boss, unexpected rejection, financial pressure, relationship struggles, failure, criticism, loss. Nobody escapes these things. The question isn't whether storms will come. The question is whether you're prepared when they do. Successful people spend time each morning stabilizing themselves emotionally. Sometimes through gratitude, sometimes through reflection, sometimes through breathing exercises, sometimes through prayer. The method varies. The outcome is similar: inner stability. And inner stability is one of the rarest forms of power, because anyone can stay positive when life is easy. The real test comes when life becomes difficult. That's when emotional control becomes priceless. And that's exactly why the 8th habit may be the most important of all. Because without it, the other 7 habits lose much of their power. And with it, almost anything becomes possible. Habit number 8. They remember why they started. Read that again. They remember why they started. Not their schedule, not their tasks, not their notifications, their reason, their purpose, their mission. Because here's what happens to most people. Life becomes a treadmill. Wake up, work, eat, sleep, repeat. Days become weeks, weeks become months, months become years. And somewhere along the way, people forget why they are doing what they are doing. They become busy but disconnected, productive but empty, successful on paper but unhappy in reality. That is one of the most dangerous traps in modern life, because a person without purpose can have everything and still feel lost. But a person with purpose can endure almost anything. Every morning before 8 a.m., many successful people reconnect with their bigger reason, the reason they are sacrificing, the reason they are learning, the reason they are growing, the reason they refuse to quit. Because purpose creates endurance, and endurance creates greatness. Think about the hardest moments of your life, the moments when you wanted to give up, the moments when nothing seemed to be working, the moments when quitting looked easier than continuing. What kept you going? It wasn't motivation. Motivation disappears. It wasn't excitement. Excitement fades. It was meaning. Meaning is stronger than emotion. Meaning survives bad days. Meaning survives rejection. Meaning survives failure. Meaning survives fear. And that's why successful people revisit it constantly. Not once a year, not once a month. Often every morning. Because they know something most people forget. Direction matters more than speed. You can run fast in the wrong direction for years and still end up somewhere you never wanted to be. A year passed, then another, and something remarkable happened. Not overnight, not dramatically, quietly, almost invisibly. Arjun became the person he once admired. People began asking him for advice. Colleagues trusted him. Friends respected him. New opportunities appeared. His confidence increased. His communication improved. His thinking sharpened. His life expanded. And yet, if you asked him what changed everything, he wouldn't talk about luck. He wouldn't talk about talent. He wouldn't talk about secret strategies. He would simply smile and say, "My mornings changed." That's it, because the truth is surprisingly simple. Every morning is a vote for the person you're becoming. Every decision casts a vote. Every action casts a vote. Every habit casts a vote. Wake up and scroll mindlessly. That's a vote. Wake up and learn something. That's a vote. Wake up and complain. That's a vote. Wake up and take responsibility. That's a vote. Wake up and delay your goals. That's a vote. Wake up and move toward them. That's a vote. And eventually, the votes add up. One day, you look in the mirror and you see the result of thousands of small decisions, not one giant moment. Thousands of tiny moments. That's how lives are built. That's how confidence is built. That's how success is built. That's how character is built. Brick by brick, morning by morning.
Choice by choice. Now, I want you to imagine something. Imagine waking up tomorrow. Not next year.
Not next month. Tomorrow, the alarm rings. The room is quiet. The world has not yet started demanding your attention for a few precious moments. The day belongs entirely to you. What will you do with it? Will you give those moments away? Or will you invest them? Because that decision matters more than most people realize. The first hour of your day is often a preview of the rest of your life. Chaos creates chaos.
Clarity creates clarity. Distraction creates distraction. Focus creates focus.
Weak habits create weak outcomes. Strong habits create strong outcomes. The pattern repeats again and again and again until it becomes your reality. This is why successful people treat mornings differently. Not because mornings are magical, because mornings are strategic. They understand that momentum is easier to build than repair. It is easier to start strong than recover from weakness. It is easier to protect focus than regain it. It is easier to create confidence than constantly search for it. And all of those advantages begin before most people are fully awake. Let me tell you something important. You do not need a perfect morning routine. You do not need a 4 a.m. alarm. You do not need an expensive planner. You do not need complicated systems. You do not need to become someone else. You simply need to become a little more intentional. That's all. One small change, then another. Then another. Because transformation is rarely dramatic. Movies make it look dramatic. Social media makes it look dramatic. Reality is quieter. Real transformation happens when nobody is watching. When you choose discipline instead of distraction. When you choose growth instead of comfort. When you choose purpose instead of drifting. When you choose action instead of excuses. Those moments rarely receive applause. Nobody celebrates them. Nobody notices them. But they matter. They matter more than people think, because your future is hiding inside those small decisions. Right now, today, this week, this year. The life you want is not built someday, it is built daily. And maybe this video found you at exactly the right moment. Maybe you've been feeling stuck. Maybe you've been feeling lost. Maybe you've been doubting yourself. Maybe you've been watching other people move ahead and wondering what's wrong with you. Maybe you've been waiting for confidence, waiting for motivation, waiting for the perfect moment. But what if the perfect moment isn't coming? What if confidence isn't something you wait for? What if motivation isn't something you find? What if the breakthrough you've been looking for begins with something much smaller? A better morning, a stronger first hour, a few intentional choices before 8 a.m. Because sometimes the biggest life changes begin with the smallest daily decisions. And maybe that's the lesson hidden inside all 8 habits. Not that successful people are special, not that they are superhuman, not that they are better than everyone else. They simply understand something many people ignore. Small actions repeated consistently become extraordinary outcomes. That's it. That's the secret. Simple, not easy, but simple. And simplicity is powerful. Years from now, you will not remember every morning. Most mornings feel ordinary. forgettable, routine. But those mornings are quietly shaping everything: your confidence, your mindset, your future, your relationships, your career, your identity, your life. One day, you'll wake up and realize you became someone different. The question is, who? Will you become the person who kept waiting? The person who kept postponing? The person who kept saying someday? Or will you become the person who decided that today mattered? Because today does matter. This morning matters, tomorrow morning matters, the next morning matters. Not because one morning changes everything, because one morning begins a chain reaction. And chain reactions change lives. So tomorrow, before the world rushes in, before the noise arrives, before the notifications start fighting for your attention, pause. Take a breath. Remember who you want to become. Protect your mind. Create a small win. Move your body. Feed your mind. Control your attention. Strengthen your emotions. Reconnect with your purpose. And watch what happens. Not immediately, not magically, but inevitably. Because when you win the morning, you give yourself a chance to win the day. When you win enough days, you win months. When you win enough months, you win years. And when you win enough years, you build a life that once felt impossible. The life you've been imagining, the life you've been hoping for. The life waiting on the other side of your daily choices tomorrow morning. The opportunity returns. The question is simple: will you answer it? Or will you sleep through it again? The choice, as always, is yours.